You're listening to the Chopped Podcast, episode number 74. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Chopped Podcast FriChats. I'm Marley of the site Namely Marley, and I have with me
Kara Ansis of Fork and Beans.
Yay, Kara. Good to have you back.
It's so great to be back. I'm so happy not to be sick. Yay.
I'm glad you're not sick too. No fun being sick.
Nothing's worse than being sick during the summertime.
I know. It's just not fair, is it? Because like the weather's finally nice.
It's terrible. And you're like hovering in a blanket. Ugh.
Oh.
I'm happy to be back.
Good. I'm happy you're back. So today we're on FriChats, and what are FriChats actually, Kara? What is your interpretation of what we're doing here?
We try to limit it to 15 to 20 minutes. Marley and I have a way of just chatting. But it's just a condensed version of a podcast where we're, talking about food blogging and like the spiritual side of it and the practical side of it. Just two food bloggers having fun.
I love it. And it's so much fun. I've really had a good time talking with you.
I love this. I love this talk so much.
So today we're talking about the topic, how your success is all in your head.
Yes.
I'm just letting that sit there for a minute. Okay, that's enough.
Oh, I was...
No more silence, please.
Yeah, I'm not good with silence.
I'm not either.
Yeah, especially when I get around you, I seriously, you bring out the chatter in me, which is a good thing. I mean that as a really good thing.
Well, everybody has to have their skills in life.
You're very good at bringing that out of people, which puts you in the perfect position with this podcast.
Well, I think success is such a great thing to talk about because I feel like I know that me personally, I can create a word around success and it can mean one thing, and that may be making money, or it could be, getting a certain number of page views. And I just feel like I love talking about, what is success?
Well, and the funny thing is that it transitions over time too. You starting Namely Marley years ago, your idea of success has probably totally changed to where you are now based off of your experience. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And I have to tell you, Kara, sometimes I hate that. It's like, I want to know where I'm going, who I am, what I'm doing with it all in the same moment. And so this idea of verging off of path drives me crazy. And yet at the same time, I know inside my gut that that's the way it has to be.
Well, so what do you view as success these days?
I view success these days as me creating a site that I feel is helpful to my audience and resonates with my audience. That is my biggest goal right now. It feels really good too. And do you feel like you're attaining that? Like, does that feel something that you're hitting every single time? I think that's a great question. Okay. Yes, I don't, it's interesting because as I'm trying to move into this new shift of thinking, the old thinking still comes back. So I'm still thinking like, am I getting the right number of page views, or am I doing this, or, I actually, it's interesting. I am hitting some of those typical success metrics. Like I got a lot more sponsored posts than I have in the past.
Fabulous. Yeah.
I know. It felt really, really good. Last month was a great month. Great. Yes. But at the same time, I'm also just trying to shed myself of some of those metrics. So for me, the metric is, really, am I producing this content? I love the look of the site. I know that we're constantly working on improving the photography, and I'm really happy with that. I'm showing up, I'm looking at page view, SEO, like where is the page showing up on search results, and I'm seeing that go higher and higher, and that feels really good. Also, just like how much fun am I having doing this work? And it's interesting. The more that I'm like after those, page views and metrics, and that feels kind of fearful, and I end up not enjoying the work. But now I'm really enjoying the work, and I think it's a result of kind of a shift in those metrics.
Well, I was just going to ask you too, what do you credit that shift to?
Okay, well, this is getting deep, Kara. Okay,
I
so
love it. I love
I
that.
know I've very much been focused on meditation and also getting in touch with what I call my internal me, which is, some people call it their intuition or their gut or whatever. But for me, it's like this version of myself that is, it's like the blueprint for my life, who I want to be, who I am, who I want, and I want the site to be a reflection of that. So that feels really good.
So what I'm hearing, Marley, is
Yeah.
that you've kind of stopped this comparison trap thinking mentality and have been kind of looking inside of who you are and what makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly. I actually mentioned this to you as before that we started the recording, but I actually have started this practice of looking in the mirror and saying to myself, why can this not be the definition of beauty? Why am I trying to be like somebody else in order to feel accepted in society or whatever? And I feel like the more that I am loving myself, the more that I am feeling in touch with myself, then the more that, like, if I think of myself as having this spiritual blueprint, the more that I feel comfortable letting that come out on the site and on the page. And I feel this sense of connection now with the words that I'm writing. I don't know, it just feels very powerful.
Well, I think that it's a very beautiful thing too, because
Yeah.
when you look at the people that you admire the most, they're usually the ones who are just dancing to their own drum, to their own
Yes.
beat.
Yes.
They don't care what anyone else thinks because they're just too busy being themselves. And
Right.
that's really what we want to attain to. And as food bloggers, what fun is it when you're just regurgitating what so and so just did in the style that so and so just did?
Oh,
It
yes.
shows, in my opinion, people are attracted to that authenticity. Oh, there's the magic word. And just somebody who's actually creating content from what makes them happy too.
I love that. And it's so true. You can tell when someone is a unique soul and they're following that.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yes.
it's just very sweet smelling. It's so attractive to others that, like, I can think of this one person in particular. It's called the Allison Show. She's just a person who's completely unique on her own, and she will show video clips of her dancing just randomly. She'll just stop and dance if she hears music or whatever. To me, she's like the biggest delight to follow on Instagram because she's just real and authentic. And I don't know. I adore her. It's kind of like I look at her stuff and admire it more than somebody who has like the most flawless photo up on Instagram, because she's somebody who seems so happy with who she is. I don't know. That's so attractive to me.
I love that. I really, really love that. I'm just speaking from someone that has a site with her name in it. I feel like that's where my
Yeah.
destination. That's where I have to be, or not have to be, but that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
But I think I've been kind of hidden behind this veil of trying to be like everybody else, and I just think that that's not a healthy place to be. But whatever time you find it, I think it's important to find it no matter what.
And I think, like, okay, so you think about a kid growing up, right?
Yeah.
A little child emulates its parents because
Yes.
all it knows, right?
Right.
Until the little child realizes, wait a minute, I'm an independent person. Let me go now and explore who that is. I think that also is the progression of a food blogger. So it's not necessarily a bad thing when you're trying to emulate somebody, especially when you're new, because you're trying to figure out what it is that you like, and you're thinking, well, if this person has that success and I like what they're doing, I can do that too. I think that in itself isn't necessarily bad. It's the transformation. Are you transforming into more of who you really are from that? And in my opinion, I think that really starts with what you were talking about, of being in touch with that inner you, of figuring out what makes you happy. What do you define as success? And it's going to be so different from everybody else.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so Kara, you're on the hot seat now.
Oh, hot seat.
What's your definition of success?
Okay, let's see. My definition of success now is being able to pay my bills
Yes.
and some, all within the confines of putting out work that makes me proud and also helps other people in their journey as well. So, this morning, I got a comment from a mom saying her 4-year-old can't stop laughing at the photo I just posted.
Oh, that's
And that
wonderful.
is everything to me. It's like,
Oh,
just made I told her, you just made my day. And I mean it. Like, that's
yeah.
what I want to hear. I want to hear little kids enjoying
Oh,
my stuff. But I also want to be able to pay my phone bill too
right.
while they're enjoying my stuff. Because let's be real, we need to make a living. It requires a lot of work with what we do.
Right.
And so I think in the past 6 months, I have greatly shifted from I want to get X amount of page views to it's not even a thought in my head anymore. If I'm getting paid the amount that I'm getting paid, then page views, it doesn't even matter anymore.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's very freeing, but
Yes.
but but like you said, it's hard to not get sucked back into that. And when it does come through, then I have to do some soul searching again and take a break. But the reality is if, and we've talked about this before too, if I got 1 million page views next month, is that really going to make me happy? It's going to be like pretty awesome because maybe it increases my ad revenue or whatnot.
Right.
But then what? And then what? That's always
Yes.
my next question is, okay, so does that make me a better person? No, it doesn't do anything for me spiritually as a person. And that's kind of the most important thing to me too.
Yes.
So if it doesn't help me grow as a human being, then I don't know, it's kind of pointless.
Here's the thing though, I can kind of see the attraction towards it though, because
Oh yeah.
it's an external validation. And anytime we get that external validation, it can superficially feel really good.
It feels so good. It
Yes.
feels so good. However, okay, so I heard this quote. I'm going to botch it, but they said, as quick as people are to love you, do not mistake, they will quickly hate you. So if
Wow.
I put all my self-worth and happiness into how you think I'm doing,
Yes.
then and you're praising me, how fast you're going to be then to tell me, oh, I don't agree with that, and then how fragile will my ego be when you do turn on me.
Yes.
So instead of focusing on that external validation, now when I work for sponsors or brands and do sponsored work, I want them to be proud of the work I do. I want that validation because I want their business and I want their trust and I want to create that partnership. But when I'm proud of something, it's like I just don't necessarily need them to sing my praises because I'm already proud of it. That's, to me, is the most important thing. Am I proud of what I'm doing?
Ah, that's beautiful because if you have that as a foundation when your numbers are low, then you'll have that as a foundation when your numbers are high.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
then it doesn't even matter anymore because honestly, Marley, I don't look at those numbers anymore at all.
That's good.
I have shut them out completely, and I'm such a happier person for it.
Oh, that's so good. I have to confess, I have these moments where I hear other people who it's obvious that they know their numbers inside and out. And I think, maybe I should be better at that. I don't know.
No, I just think it's a personal thing.
Yeah, you're right.
If you're more numbers
Yes.
oriented, that's great, and it doesn't affect you. I know it affects me deeply, and it will rob me of my happiness. It really will. And
Yeah.
so, because I'm just weak.
Another example of that would be Food Gawker. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people that are, downright in tears because their photos got rejected by Food Gawker. And I think that should be another
Yeah.
example. Like if I am in love with my photo and I submit it and it gets rejected, it shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't. It does,
Yeah.
but there are certain like rites of passages for
Yes.
food bloggers where you feel like you've made it,
Yeah.
but maybe kind of like what you were saying of looking in the mirror, and you're saying how, you know what if I'm the definition of beauty? What if
Right.
that's what it is? Why
Yes.
can't you do that as a blogger then too, saying,
Right.
you know what, that's fine that so and so's using this app or whatever. I don't want to do that though. I want to march to my own beat. So this is what I'm going to do. That's harder because
Yes.
you have to be able to face that uncomfortableness constantly, but it's more rewarding.
Yeah. I agree. And in fact, honestly, I don't even look at whether my photos are approved by Food Gawker or not anymore. I just submit them and I don't even pay attention.
I don't even submit anymore.
You don't?
I got rejected that I'm like, wow, oh well. I was one of those people who was crying.
Oh, I have been there before. I've felt so very down about it. And I don't know. I finally just reached a point where I just quit looking to whether or not they approved it. And it seems like they, I'm on there sometimes. So I assume that some of them
Great.
they're approving.
That's great.
But I think what I'm hearing you say too is like, then if you're deciding what you think, like, let's continue with that theme of Food Gawker, like if you have to make the decision as if you love your photo the way it is, and Food Gawker likes, more highly lit shots, and so therefore you've got to crank up the exposure a little bit. Are you going to be willing to do that to get your, photos approved by them? I mean, I think those are the kinds of situations that bloggers find themselves in from time to time.
Yeah, if that's important to you,
Yeah.
then absolutely do that. If that's part of your definition of success is to get onto Food Gawker, I mean, that might be your goal for the month, and that will
Yeah.
make you feel successful. And by all means, do that. But I think that we just have to be very careful in placing our happiness and our goals based off of what other people say about us.
Yeah.
That's a very dangerous place to be because we're giving people so much power. I know people who are doing food blogging who don't have a quote unquote large audience, but they're doing amazing work. And they're making a living off of it because you don't have to have 500,000 page views a month in order to make a living. All the stereotypes in my mind they're kind of bogus. There isn't like that special number. It's kind of like the value of your work really determines whether or not you can make this a full-time job. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying, but
I like it. That's very good. In fact, I think what I'm hearing as a trend here is that the encouragement is to switch from a goal focused type of thinking where I have to have this many page views, or I have to do this many posts a week, or I have to, that maybe those are the ways
so
that you want
to. Like I get so exhausted hearing that because that's so much pressure.
I know.
I'm just old in my food blogging.
What if we switched from that to a more vision focused type of thinking, which is, you have the vision of, creating a full-time salary. You have the vision of creating work that you're proud of. You have a vision of connecting with your audience by providing them resources for, allergy friendly foods. So those are three really good visions that you're holding for yourself.
Yeah. And I love that because what it really condenses down is that my happiness isn't based off of pleasing others. And so there isn't this magic pill or magic number that you can reach. Just because so-and-so posts 3 times a week doesn't mean that you have to do that too in order to be successful. I don't know. I don't think that there's something to routine. Don't get me wrong. Like I think it's very important to consistently do things because Google and SEO and all that fun stuff. And if that's important to you, then you have to kind of follow within those guidelines. But there isn't this one key to success in order to be amazing at what you're doing. But if you want to fail, then just start pleasing others.
Yes.
Because
Right.
that is a great recipe for disaster.
Yes. In many ways, spiritually and
All your life, yeah.
oh yeah, exactly. All the things.
Yeah.
I love
So,
it.
so then let me ask you, Marley,
Yes.
as a way to kind of bring this all together, um, how do you start forming a new way of thinking towards your food blogging business? How do you start taking those steps towards just a happier mentality and yeah, just everything that we're talking about?
Well, for me, the only answer that I have found that works is through meditation. And we've talked about this before in previous
Yeah.
episodes. It is really about me connecting with my, well, like I say, my internal blueprint or my internal me that understands the things that make me happy. The more that I can connect with that, the more happy I am in general. And even when bad things, it's not like I'm walking around Pollyanna all the time, but I do feel pretty happy a lot of times. And, I feel like the more that I can connect with that, the more that reflects in my work and the more I start to feel like I have a vision for my work as well. And that, I don't know, it just all comes together. How about you? Do you have a strategy you use?
Well, I love that you're talking about incorporating something that makes you feel fulfilled and happy outside of food blogging or outside of your business, period.
Yeah.
And that you found ways to fill the tank, really.
Yes.
For me, it is pausing when I start to notice certain jealous feelings, or because they never go away, right? But you
Right.
can always reframe them. And
Yep.
so it's just learning that art of reframing. Whether it's like reading books too. I love this book called Infinite Possibilities.
Ooh,
It
sounds
talks a
good.
lot about how thoughts become things. But also, like, it's not just about changing your thoughts, it's about changing your beliefs about things too. So, learning how to see myself differently and how I have the power to create my own success. And I've seen it firsthand that it really does work, but it has to be continually come back to. I have to work on it constantly.
I think that's great advice, Kara.
So I don't know. I think it's just like do the hard digging.
Yes.
I mean, man, I wish I could give something simpler, but
No, I like that. It's really like what I'm hearing you say is be very mindful about the words that you say. Like if you catch yourself like saying
yeah,
things like, "Oh, this is never going to work out for me, but I do have this kind of side project or whatever."
yes, anything like
Yes.
we were talking about this earlier. If I'm thinking, wow, I'm so disgustingly ugly, or
Yeah.
I'm just a gross pig in this
Yes.
swimsuit. That's all you're going to be thinking about, and that's kind of what you become. And so, be kind to yourself and be gentle. I'm doing the best that I can.
Right.
Yeah, maybe Food Gawker didn't, accept my photo, but I'm working on this. I've never done photography before, so I'm trying really hard. But at least so and so likes my stuff, or at least I like my stuff, and I got
Yes.
this, and so it's good enough for right now, and I like it. Just changing the way you say and see things.
Right. I love that. And, it's interesting because, I think it was Ali Ebright that was on the podcast before that said,
Yes.
let's say you're only getting 1,000 visitors a month. But if you were speaking to a room of 1,000 people, you would be pretty psyched out about that. That would be really impressive. And so
Absolutely.
just serve that 1,000 as well as you can, and you'll be surprised what happens.
And bless them. Like, that's what I do.
Yes.
I mean, my traffic has, tanked. I'm just with everything. And I think, I don't know, I haven't seen it. But regardless, it's like, yeah, but look at all these people who did come.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You are
Right.
not nobody. I see you. I'm so grateful that you came, even though like maybe, 2 years ago, I would have wanted that quadrupled and thought that it was possible. But these people are taking time out of their day. Bless them. I don't know. Say a little something for them. Throw some fairy dust in there.
I like fairy dust. I actually have a magic wand by my desk.
I'm not surprised by that, and I absolutely love that.
I'll take a picture and send it to you all.
Marley, you just melt my heart. I love it.
Because I have a magic wand by my desk?
Yeah, and they blow bubbles. I just love all of it so much.
I should tell people I have this fascination with bubbles. I have bubbles out of my desk and I go out and blow them every day. But it makes me happy. And I feel like when I'm in that happy mindset, that's when my creativity really comes out. And I don't know, I just feel really good about that.
See, this is why I like talking to you, is because you're just a happy person and it's contagious. It makes me so happy. And now I want a magic wand. So
I'm going to get you one.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that kind of wraps up. Hopefully people have gotten some good things, good ideas out of this one. Watch your thoughts, create more vision statements and, to include along with your goals, but, focus on those visions and see what comes your way.
That's right. And more magic wands, please.
And more magic wands and bubbles too.
You got this, everybody. You're doing great. Just be gentle on yourself and just kind of tweak those thoughts a little bit. You're gonna do it. You already are.
Love it, Kara. Thanks so much for another great FriChats.
Love it, Marley. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks everyone for joining us for another episode of FriChats. If you'd like to see the show notes page where we left links and notes about today's discussion, or if you'd like to sign up for our weekly email newsletter to get tips on food blogging, just head over to choppedpodcast.com. That's it for today's show. Here's to something inspirational coming your way today.